if you think it's going to be okay for Bernie Sanders this time. Remember last time the Washington Post did 16 negative stories in 16 hours, and then the MSNBC fired Ed Schultz. Well, first they told all their hosts you can't cover Bernie Sanders, and if you do, you have to cover him negatively. And then Ed Schultz has said, no, I'm going to cover him, and they fired him for covering Bernie Sanders. And that was from Ed Schultz. So now when you watch MSNBC, you got to know Chris Hayes, fake tough guy Lawrence Logano, Chris Matthews, Rachel Maddow. They've all been given directives from the head of NBC News to screw over Bernie Sanders, and that's what they do. So if you think it's going to get better, it's not than it was last time, because now everybody's hip to what they were doing, which is why I have a show, because people wanted to get information about Bernie Sanders. They couldn't get it from CNN or MSNBC or the Washington Post or the New York Times, so they had to come to social media. They come to YouTube. Right. And that's when I was with the Young Turks. And that's when the Young Turks blew up, because people got information about Bernie Sanders from them. And that's why they did Russiagate. Says Russiagate helps the security state expand their control over social media, because Bernie Sanders scared the shit out of them. And you know they'd rather have Trump president than Bernie Sanders. And that's not hyperbole. I'm not making that up. I'm quoting Donnie Deutsch, host on MSNBC and CNBC for the last 12 years. He said that. So you know this is true, right? So here it comes. Here's Politico. And remember what all that trouble Ilhan Omar got in when she said that Israel has hypnotized the world, and but she was talking about the AIPAC lobby, which buys politicians. And now here's Politico. Bernie Sanders, the secret of Bernie's millions.
Standing in front of a money tree and a big house.
So he's standing in front of a money tree that someone drew. Like, that's an illustration.
Is it, though?
He didn't take a picture in front of a fucking money tree. They just did that to him.
What?
I mean,
I don't know. Who planted that tree, Jimmy Putin?
why didn't they just make him with a big nose?
Yeah.
Right? Because he's Jewish and air is free, right? And that would be the same thing. Look at the money. Oh, he's Jew at money. Isn't that the same thing? Hey, I heard Bernie walked into a wall with a heart on, broke his nose. You know that? Why didn't they just do that joke for him, too? Why did they do that?
It's so funny because...
Why don't they just do that? Here's what they did. Bernie Sanders might still be cheap, but he's not poor. Look, he's got two houses on each. First of all, he's a giant, which makes me scared. And he can put two houses on either shoulder. This is Politico. This isn't Fox News. This is Politico doing this. You feel good now? You read Politico? You feel good? Oh, by the way, what's the name of this guy who wrote it? Michael Kruse, Kruse. Michael Kruse, who obviously has that thing in his brain missing called the shame mechanism. Normal people have. Michael Kruse doesn't have that. He does this shit. This is fucking awesome. And then he does this. This is a real thing. I'm not making this up. It's called Bernie Two Houses. Yep, Bernie Two Houses.
Can I just say, I know the point here, it's so ridiculous. When we watch, I watch those home shows, redecorating your homes and whatever, and you'll see a home that is $200,000 that looks like that.
Right.
In the Midwest. $200,000. But what you could show here in California, you could show a 1-bedroom, 1-bath that's $800,000.
That's correct.
And it doesn't really.
That's correct. So
you're fucked in California.
So here's another. This is another. So the photo illustration was by C.J. Burton for this in Politico. So good on you, C.J. Fantastic work. Also, Katie Helper says, "Wow, Michael Kruse in Politico. This is just fantastic." But it could be even better. Why not add a Jewish star or make his nose hooked? Maybe some rodent imagery. I'm just blown away. Sorry to end on an earnest note, but you're just despicable people, and shamelessly so. And they are. So that's what's happening. And by the way, do you remember how the world stopped when Ilhan Omar said something about the Jewish lobby buying our politicians, which is 100% accurate fact? Do you remember how the world shut down and the View had somebody broke down crying on the View, some entitled knucklehead? It's this is what, and it's not stopping. So this is what they're doing to Bernie. Imagine what they'll do to me for just telling the truth about. Well, look what they're doing to Julian Assange, which we're going to talk about in a minute. So if this show ever made a dent, which it has a itty bitty bit, they've come after us already. But if it makes more of a dent, they'll look what they do to Bernie. So I'm sure when this show hits 1 million subscribers, Politico will start writing articles about us and how we're everything. I don't know what they'll say. Hey, by the way, you got the Syrian gas attack right, Jimmy. Where's that article saying they're sorry for that? Does the Washington Post write an article saying they're sorry for that to us? Or CNN? Does CNN write an article? Hey, sorry, by the way, we were we were pushing bullshit in Syria again, and Jimmy Dore, a guy in his garage in Pasadena, doing better journalism than CNN, he got it right. That's right. We should probably apologize. They're all bought and paid for pieces of shit. And that's why I don't want to be in their journalist club. They're all fucking full of it. All of them. There's like 5 guys. There's 5 people in the country doing journalism. That's about it. Everyone else is full of shit. And that's why they're afraid of me. Right? And that's why they smear us. And that's why even other YouTubers smear us. Right? And anyway. Go ahead. You want to say something?
I just wanted to say several things with regards to that article. Do you remember when Bernie in the debates against Hillary just said, wait your turn, and the way they flipped out? He's sexist. He's telling women how dare, right? All this shit. They throw all this racist and anti-Semitic. He's cheap. Oh, has anyone ever said that about Jewish people in the past? With the 2 houses, he's cheap. Like, it's
right?
amazing. And to Bernie's credit and to his staff's credit, he's never played the anti-Semitic card when he could have. The Hillary people, anyone who didn't vote for Hillary, you're a misogynist. He didn't go, if you don't vote for me, you must hate Jews. He's never said that, right? So there's that fact that Katie Halper points out. And more importantly, how many times is this Michael Cruz guy, how many articles about how much money Joe Biden has
By
and
the way,
Kamala Harris?
You know what? Here it is. He doesn't list Joe Biden.
Oh.
They list, how does Bernie compare? Bernie's worth somewhere between 1 million and 2.5 million. Well, what is it? He's either worth 1 million or twice as much. I'm either 150% off or I'm right. What the fuck?
Oh.
And so he goes, so Sanders has now estimated, here's how he stacks up with the other senators running for president. Where's Joe Biden? No Joe Biden.
We couldn't find him speaking tour money? We couldn't find Joe Biden speaking tour money.
Couldn't find that, huh?
Couldn't find that. I'm willing to prostitute myself.
Right. And how about the people who you were saying would call you sexist if you didn't vote for Hillary Clinton? Well, those same people who called us sexist, Bernie bros, are now backing Joe Biden over Tulsi Gabbard.
Right.
Isn't that amazing? Doesn't that make you a sexist? You were a Hillary voter. Now you're going to vote for Joe Biden, yet there's all these women in the race. You're a fucking sexist. Oh, that's right. It only applies to people who are actually progressive. It doesn't actually apply to the cretins who are the corporatists in the party. I got it. Here's what Jay Casano says. Step 1, defend capitalism as a meritocracy that rewards people wealth based on their value to society. Number 2, critique Bernie for being wealthy. Step 3, I don't know, but step 4, elect Biden and profit. That's pretty awesome.
It's funny. They're always showing on the clicker now. We showed it in an earlier clip, Jimmy, before you got here. Biden leading in Democratic polls. They're just putting that message out there everywhere.
That's right.
Just to get that in your head. Yeah, well, Biden's in the polls.
The guy. It's just like, hey, you know what? Obama's guy is going to be president. It's Obama's guy.
Yeah.
By the way, the video we did in Tempe of Joe Biden saying Mexicans are bringing tons and tons of drugs here, and Mexico thinks they're going to be treated like a regular country, all that shit, which sounded just exactly verbatim like Trump, which that's the whole point. They were all doing that shit. The Clintons, Biden, the Democrats, they're all doing that shit. And then Trump started doing it, and they're like, oh, that's bad, which it is bad, but they were all part of it. That's the problem. There's no progressive party. There's nobody representing the actual people. There's only fucking dickheads like Joe Biden representing the oligarchs, which is what Michael Cruz does in Politico. So if you ever read Manufacturing Consent, you know how this fucking works, and Michael Cruz is a tool. And he's a willfully one. He's probably uncorking some champagne right now. You're damn right, Jimmy Dore. You're in your garage, and look at me, a Politico with fucking champagne.
How much does Michael Cruz make? Do we have any numbers on what he makes?
Oh, what's his number?
Yeah.
So there you go. So that's. I just want to show you if you think it's stopping, it's not stopping. It's actually going to get worse, and it's going to get worse for who? By the way, they don't even. Where's Tulsi? No, where's Joe Biden? So they did it again. Oh, I forgot. They had because of the abortion thing in Alabama, Huffington Post did a big article, and they had the women running for Democratic nomination and how they're pushing back against the Alabama abortion thing. And of course, who'd they leave out? Tulsi Gabbard. They had a picture of every other woman running except for Tulsi Gabbard.
It's like she's a threat or something.
It's exactly what they did to Ron Paul. It's exactly what they did to Bernie, and now they're doing it to Tulsi and Bernie.
And she's not going anywhere.
And that's right. She's young, and she's not going anywhere. Next live Jimmy Dore show is June 5th. That's a Wednesday at Hermosa Beach Comedy Club in Hermosa Beach, California. Go to jimmydorecomedy.com for a link for all tickets. We might be coming to your town. And if you love the show, please become a patron. Please support the show. We give you hours of bonus material every week. And please click that bell and make sure you're subscribed. Even if you think you are already subscribed, they unsubscribe people every day. Just check. Thanks for your support.